Even when Brock Purdy is healthy, the San Francisco 49ers need to roll with the duct tape and ride with the Mac Jones. That and more on today's edition of Locked On NFL.
The new Locked On NFL. The madman Tyler Rowland is your double shot of NFL espresso with the Locked On local experts on every major story. Get ready, Rowland is revving up. The new Locked On NFL starts now. Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Football fans, welcome into the Locked On NFL podcast, bringing you a double dose of the NFL's biggest stories with help from our local experts that know your favorite teams like no one else. I am your host, the madman, Tyler Rowland, joined once again by Locked On NFL expert, the brain, Luke Braun, on today's episode. We're going to do a little who do you trust? Who do you trust to win a playoff game this year, the Seahawks or the Broncos? Who do you trust to come back and win their division, the Packers or the Commanders? And who do you trust to get things right or keep things right between the San Francisco 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens? Before we dive in, though, I do want to thank you for making Locked On NFL your first listen. Reminder that you can follow our show and hear new episodes ad-free daily on Amazon Music, so go check that out. And thank you for being an everydayer here with us at the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Luke, some may call us crazy, but I think if you're the San Francisco 49ers and you look at how well the team has been playing with Mac Jones, Lil Wayne reference for those who maybe didn't catch it, the 49ers need to roll with the Mac here and keep going with Mac Jones. I don't think that that's crazy.
No, I think it's at the very least a discussion the 49ers should be entertaining, even if you come out of that discussion deciding to still roll with Purdy. You have to give it credence. The 49ers are 3-0 with Mac Jones under the helm, right? Like, that's the most basic stat. But even as you go a little bit deeper, you see some of the seeds of a more sustainable offense.
Yes.
The 49ers offense has been more productive with Brock Purdy by like EPA per play. Thank you, True Media. But Mac Jones has gotten the ball out a little more quickly, and he's been a lot safer with the football. And I think about the identity of the 49ers with Brock Purdy in the heyday of that, the Super Bowl year, the NFC Championship, 22-24. And when that was, they were the class of the NFC. And Brock Purdy was a game manager. I came on this show a lot with both you and with Ross. And said, and that's good. That's right. That's what he should be. Tom Brady was a game manager too. Like, you can be successful and go all the way to the championship playing point guard and dishing the ball out to all of the superstars you have around you. And what we talked about all offseason was that Brock Purdy was going to have to do more. And I think that's in his head, that he is now trying to do everything. He's trying to play hero ball and do more. If you look at those interceptions, save the one that was like tipped, that I don't care about that one, but against the Jaguars. But the picks that he's thrown in the two games that he's played have been him forcing things, trying to like stick it in a tight window that he doesn't quite have the juice to get it into, or going beyond this year because it's a small sample, but going to previous years, the worst Brock Purdy moments have been when he tries to be a hero and throws up some dumb, back foot, crazy idiot ball. And Mac Jones has come in and played a calm, veteran style of football. He's year 6 for him, year 5. And he has been able to just play point guard, just do the normal thing. The ball's getting out quicker. The pressure is less. He's suffered worse pressure, just generally. But it's been lessened by the fact that he's gotten the ball out. And so I think if you look at this, especially as you're hoping you get Kittle back soon, you're hoping you get Ayuk back soon, those guys can be the engine of your offense, and you just need somebody who is going to be able to dish the ball out. This didn't work in Jacksonville or New England, where they didn't have anybody to throw to. You got dudes here, and they're coming back, so just stick with the guy that is safe with the football and doesn't single-handedly lose you the game.
And listen, this could be a bigger conversation, again, once Purdy is healthy, what we're saying. But while Brock Purdy is banged up at all, if he's not 100%, I think you have to roll with Mac Jones, even if he's at 99%.
Oh, for sure.
And
he's playing well enough where you can give Brock Purdy all the time he needs, if you are going to go back to him.
Exactly that. And that's basically exactly what my guy Brian Peacock from Locked On 49ers is saying.
If Brock Purdy looks worse than he looked last week physically, you can't let him make the call if he wants to run out there. He's like, I'm good, coach, I can play. And you say, sit your ass on the pitch. We're going to play a different guy because you're not right. And we got to get you right if we're going to go anywhere this year. And so there needs to be some big boy conversations, and we'll see who actually gets out there and plays.
And I agree with the first half. Like, Brock Purdy is going to do everything he can to get back on the field so he doesn't get Wally pipped here, like what he did to get on the field. You know what I mean? But I disagree with the second part of that they need Brock Purdy to go the distance. Like, I'm sorry, call me crazy, but like, I don't see a big difference between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. And quite frankly, I think Mac Jones has a better arm than Brock Purdy. He's not as mobile. He can't run around and do those sort of things. But I think he has a better...
It's too chaotic.
Right. It is too chaotic. You don't need that. And let me just say this. There is some poetic justice in the air of, what if the 49ers had just selected Mac Jones number 3 overall like everybody thought they were going into the draft? Like, and when you add in what Brock Purdy is getting paid, my issue with the Brock Purdy contract was he is not a good enough player to justify that contract. He is a trailer. He is someone who is made by everyone around him. And Kyle Shanahan. So I think a San Francisco 49ers team that has lost some talent in recent years, hasn't been able to restack that talent. Wouldn't it be great if you could trade a first-round pick for Brock Purdy and just roll with Mac Jones on a cheaper contract for right now and not have that big of a drop-off? Okay, let's say it's 80% of Brock Purdy. Well, 80% of Brock Purdy for 10% of the money is a great value. Like, that's a great value for them. So I think that not only do they need to keep Mac Jones in here, I would keep rolling with Mac Jones until he loses the job at this point.
Yeah, and that contract is weirdly tradable.
Yes. Oh, they knew.
Because
they knew
most of it is wrapped in guaranteed salary instead of signing bonus, like it usually is with these big quarterback contracts. And guaranteed salary would travel to the new team. So like you could do that with somebody who is like really, really hurting for a quarterback and just like needs their answer, somebody like New Orleans or something, right? But or maybe the Raiders if they're not happy with Geno. But like I think to me it comes down to you have the who do you want this game to be decided by every time you walk in? And if you put Mac Jones in there, he's never the answer, which is kind of puts a ceiling on it. But like, this might sound wild. You call me crazy if I'm being crazy. But right now, Mac Jones reminds me more of 2023 Brock Purdy than current Brock Purdy reminds me of 2023 Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. And that's how things change in this league. But I don't think the 49ers are going to do that. They're going to stick with their guy. They just paid him. But it's worth, at the very least, you have to discuss it. You have to give it a God's honest thought.
This is Kyle Shanahan, who moved off of a number 3 overall pick that they traded their future for to go to a 7th rounder. So I don't think that they're above making a move like that. Now, we're talking about having 2 quarterbacks to choose from and who the right one is. The problem right now for the Baltimore Ravens is they don't have any quarterback to go to because Lamar Jackson is still injured. But quite frankly, that might not even be their biggest problem. My guy Kevin Ostreicher talked about that.
That's kind of the thing with the Ravens right now, right? It's, hey, are you a team that struggles on offense? Like, are you kind of, you're not playing up to your potential? Hey, just come on down to Baltimore. The Ravens defense will fix you right up. That's what people see when they look at that Ravens defense right now. When they look at the Ravens team right now, they see a team that is depleted, deflated, and lacks identity. They need to fix all of that immediately, or else things are going to get even worse than they are. And things are pretty bad right now.
So the question is, Luke, before we move on, with the 49ers situation and them being at 4-1, but Mac Jones, Brock Purdy, who's playing, the Ravens being a team that we have come to trust, but they're sitting at 1-4. Do you trust the 49ers more to hold on to their division, or do you trust the Ravens more to get back into it?
I think my preseason priors are probably informing this too much, but I'm going to go with the Ravens.
Me too.
1-4 versus the Steelers at 4-1. That's a 3-game hole. That's a big hole. The 49ers continue to be as banged up as they always are. This is a consistent issue with them. And those quarterbacks I just don't trust as much. There is a lot of season left. I know it's a 3-game thing, but there's a lot of season left. And just looking at, if we're just talking about holding on to the division, both the Rams and Seahawks look very serious. And the Cardinals are no slouch in terms of a spoiler role. Otherwise, I know they just had the vibes are very bad over there in Arizona, but things don't stay the way they are for long. So I could see that coming to pass. Here's the deal, though. The Ravens it doesn't get easier for them as this goes on, and they need to start stringing these wins together and go on a big streak like kind of right now, or it's not going to matter. They're just going to be like the greatest 3-10 team you've ever seen and go, do something super weird and spoilery in December if they don't start pulling that together. But I just trust that organization to do so.
Me too. And then look at the schedule. Something that Lauren and I talked about yesterday. They play the Rams this week. That's going to be tough. Without Lamar Jackson, if he doesn't play, that's going to be tough. But then they're home against the Bears. They play the Dolphins. They play the Vikings. They play the Browns. They play the Jets. They play the Bengals. They're home for the Steelers. They play the Bengals. They play the Patriots. Then they play the Packers second to last week, but then they play the Steelers at the end. I absolutely think that
you'd
the
be like
Ravens
9-1
in
in that stretch. Yeah.
Yes, they could go 9-1 and have a date with the Steelers in week 18 to see who wins the division. Like, I don't think that that's crazy. Whereas with San Francisco, there's just a lot more competition in the division. It's going to be tough for them, especially with all the injuries. So I'm with you there. But I got another little game of who do you trust between some teams in the middle of the pack, including the middle of the Packers. Do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Look, the NFL season is officially here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. All you got to do, pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You guys know we do FanDuel Fridays here on the Locked On NFL podcast with the Madman's Moneymaker. And for the 4th week of the NFL season, winning record went 3-2 once again. Listen, getting on FanDuel makes watching football even more exciting because you got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, that's FanDuel.com. All right, Luke, let's continue today's edition of Locked On NFL, playing a little game of who do you trust? We talked about whether we trusted the 49ers to stay at the top of the division or trusted the Ravens to get back in it. And surprisingly, we both trust the 1-4 Baltimore Ravens to get back in it because that schedule looks like it will give them a chance to get back in it. Maybe we're just being crazy, and in a couple of weeks, they'll still be 1-6 or something like that, and we'll have to write them off. But for now, I do have some faith there. But a team that I'm starting to lose some faith in, quite frankly, is the Green Bay Packers, who looked like they were going to be the Super Bowl contender everybody thought in the first 2 weeks. But since then, the Lions have played absolutely fantastic. The Packers have come back down to earth with a loss to the Browns and a tie to the Cowboys. But I will tell you, my guy Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers, he hasn't given up hope yet.
To me, nothing has changed about the expectations for this Green Bay Packers team. The expectation is still that they are going to compete for a Super Bowl, period, end of story. They are talented enough. We saw them in the first 2 games. Now, whether or not those games are ultimately going to be the exception versus the rule, we will find out. I am not someone who believes that Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat. I certainly don't believe that Brian Gutekunst is on the hot seat, and I do think it is in that order if someone is. If the Packers come up short this year, it will not be because Brian Gutekunst did not do enough. It will be because Matt LaFleur did not do enough. Just like 2020, just like 2021, frankly. But this team is good enough. This team is good enough to go win a Super Bowl. What I want to see is a mentality difference. Go out every week like the 2007 Patriots, like the 2020 Packers. And by the way, that was a Matt LaFleur coach team, so it can't just be Matt LaFleur. Oh, Matt LaFleur, he's soft. I hear this all the time. Oh, he's not the right guy for this. We saw them do it. We saw them try and get 40 on everybody in 2020. This team is capable of doing that. Matt LaFleur is going to have to prove this. This team is going to have to prove this, but they're good enough to do it.
I'm with Pete.
Vibes are weird.
Yeah.
Why
talking about
does
Matt
they have to
LaFleur?
defend them so breathlessly? They're 2-1-1.
Yeah, I don't know. I think people are panicking. It's insane to me that anybody would talk about Matt LaFleur being on the hot seat. It's just insane. He has
That's utterly insane.
The best career winning percentage of any coach in the last 25 years, or he's in the top two.
I don't think that's true anymore because of Kevin O'Connell frauding a 13-4 season 2022.
Right. I thought I heard that he had dropped below, but still, we're talking about one of the most successful coaches whose team is good every year. To even have those conversations is insane. Look, I still believe in the Packers. I still trust the Packers. I think they're going to be just fine, and this is all nonsense.
Yeah, no, I've seen enough of these Matt LaFleur teams to know that they do slump, but they always pull it back.
Yes.
The Browns game was concerning on the offense, and then the Cowboys game concerning on defense. But Browns have a good defense, and the Cowboys have a good offense. And sometimes those guys just get the better of you. I don't think you need to turn it into an existential crisis. And the Packers, I've seen it year after year with Matt LaFleur, and even before that, where they have this disappointing game and everyone is starting to sound alarm bells, and then they rattle off 6 straight wins and they're right in the thick of the division hunt. Yeah,
I think this is just craziness to me, quite frankly, that these conversations are even being had. I couldn't believe it. I'm glad you had a reasonable take there and didn't make me worry too much that I was being, I was giving too much credit to the Packers there. If you're on board with me there, then I know that I am on to something. But
if I may be a homer, the Packers with Jordan Love will always have a stinker in them. That's just what Jordan Love is. He will always have. I mean, it's the way he's been. This is year 3 now. This is who he is. He will always have a couple of nights a year where he shows up and he lays an egg, and you just have to hope that doesn't happen at the worst time, like it did to the Packers against San Francisco a couple of years ago in the playoffs. And Jordan Love laid an egg, threw three picks against the Philadelphia Eagles. You need that to not happen in the postseason. But sometimes he just has a game where he can't see it right, and he's throwing up weird bombs, and he gets into this weird I've got to make he tries to eat it all in one bite, and he gets into this weird I have to make the hero highlight reel play thing. He suppresses it most of the time, but sometimes it bubbles up and then it leaks out into the rest of the team, and you have a stinker. But what LaFleur always does is coach them out of that, and it doesn't turn into a streak. That's what makes the Packers a consistent contender. They'll be fine.
Matt LaFleur would be hired in literally 3 seconds by someone else.
Jesus Christ, that's
immediately.
Packers fans,
Jesus
get a
Christ
grip,
would hire
okay?
him. Yes, I'm with you there. But good news for the Packers. They play the Cincinnati Bengals this week. And we will say this. Luke tried to bully me into talking about Joe Flacco, and I just don't want to. Joe Flacco gets traded to the Cincinnati
Bengals. I typed the word
Bengals.
Flacco in a text.
Yep.
That was my
Flacco
with no context.
Bullying, man. I'm telling you, HR. But Flacco has been traded to the Bengals. The Bengals traded a 5th-round pick to it was Joe Flacco and the Detroit Lions late 6th-round pick for a 5th-round pick for the Bengals, which is a great deal for the Browns. I don't know why the Bengals did this, but either way, there's my mention of this nonsense trade. And even if Joe Flacco plays this week for the Bengals, they're still going to get killed by the Packers, and the Bengals are still going to be bad this year.
Yeah, the Bengals are in as sharp a free fall and nosedive as I've ever seen it, to the point where I kind of just want to watch them to see how bad it gets. It's just fascinating at this point. It's like watching a live stream of a forest fire. You're sad about it, but it is kind of mesmerizing. And
humans love fire. I mean, it's true.
Yeah,
we do love fire. We always
lost your mind and stared into a fire. It's cathartic.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this has get right game written all over it. So much so that I'm almost worried that the goblins that control the NFL are actually gonna subvert the expectation and make it a tight game. But yeah, no, that's if you want to get right opponent, that's who you look for.
Yeah, 100%. Now, speaking of getting right, the Washington Commanders got right this week after being down 10-0. Jaden Daniels came back, but the star of the show, Bill, and my guy, David Harrison from Locked On Commanders, talked about that.
Jacory, Krosky, Merritt, Bill, the rookie running back, man, heart and soul of the offense today, consistently just getting tough yards, breaking tackles. It wasn't all just fluid and nice and all this other stuff. There were some tough yards in there as well. scored both of the team's first 2 touchdowns, and really kind of gave a boost to an offense that at the time was kind of struggling.
And a run game with Jaden Daniels, if they get Deebo Samuel back healthy, they get Terry McLaurin back healthy eventually. I mean, I was shocked at the way they came back and scored 27 unanswered. If you had to pick a team to come back in their division to win it, between the Packers catching the Lions or the Commanders catching the Eagles, what team do you trust more? Luke, my quick answer is the Washington Commanders, and it has more to do with the Eagles than it does the Commanders necessarily.
I think I'm going with the Commanders too, for similar reasons. We came on here after week 1, like, are we concerned about the Lions? And they haven't lost since. And they haven't even really been close most of the time. It feels like they're kind of back to what they wanted to be. The Eagles have weird vibes. You've got the receivers complaining. You take this L at home to Denver. They have a bit of a crisis that they have to figure out, but they have time to figure it out. It's just that, Washington's going to kind of be on their heels. And it's also that, maybe this is a hot take. Maybe I'm going to get clipped and made fun of on Twitter over this. I kind of trust Jaden Daniels week in and week out more than I trust Jordan Love to not put up a stinker. Like, Jaden Daniels is still young and has a lot to prove. And there's still a lot of, hey, can you keep it up and stuff? But you don't have this thought in the back of your head if you're a Commanders fan, what if it's one of those days? What is one of those days for Jaden Daniels? There's not. If I say, one of those days for Jordan Love, you know what I mean. You don't really know what I mean with Jaden Daniels, and that consistency is going to make you just kind of right up against the heels of the leader in your division, and you're putting pressure on the Eagles saying, don't slip up, we're right there. But I think I can probably pencil both these guys in for a wild card if we're trying to be as sensible as possible.
Yeah, 100%. I think both teams are going to make the playoffs here, but I'll be honest with you. I think I was just wrong about the Detroit Lions. They are rolling. They are just as good as they were before. Dan Campbell is that guy. I'm sorry for doubting you, Dan Campbell. Don't come out and take my knees. You know what I mean? That's my bad. At the end of the day, I think the Lions are going to keep rolling and be just fine. The Eagles, man, there's poison in that locker room. They are excellent. They have a great, great roster. But the fact that Saquon Barkley's getting the ball 6 times, even though you're one of the best running teams in the entire NFL, all because you want to make A.J. Brown feel better while you're 4-0, that is nonsensical. And I worry that disease of me, now that the Eagles have won, everybody can kind of swallow as long as we're winning. As long as we're winning.
Yeah.
But when you've already won, that we're winning doesn't make you feel as good when you're not getting yours. And the fact that A.J. Brown has to come out and give a statement and they're trying to force feed the wide receivers, just something isn't right in the water with the Eagles. And I think they still make the playoffs, but I have more trust in the Commanders to catch the Eagles because of the Eagles' dysfunction than I do the Lions, who seem to absolutely love each other and love playing for their coach.
You know, this kind of reminds me of November 2021. The Rams, who would go on to win the Super Bowl, lose 4 in a row, and the vibes get weird. You start hearing this unrest. They're in this slump. We're coming on shows like this and saying these guys are going to fall away and they're not even going to make the playoffs. And they ended up, I think they won out after that streak, and ended up winning their division and having heroic moments winning Super Bowl. It feels a little bit like that. The season is 17 games long. You can have a crisis for 3 weeks if you figure it out, and you can still make things happen. But again, with the Commanders just biting at your heels, suddenly that's a little extra pressure. We have to figure this out now. Otherwise, we're going to lose our hold on this otherwise disastrously weak NFC East.
Yeah. 100%. So we've actually been on the same page here. Let's see if we can disagree a little bit, because we got another who do you trust between two teams that are kind of middle of the road, but look like they are pretty good football teams in the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs. With features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance, you can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
Great job there by Cody, and shout out to Alex Toussaint. Is a very good instructor on the Peloton, who I would recommend at all times. But we got to continue with Locked On NFL, our final segment here of Who Do You Trust? We got the Seattle Seahawks, who lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Baker Mayfield is an unkillable entity. He just has, as Luke likes to say,
I love the Bucs so much. Can I say they're just so cool?
I mean,
I don't care.
Listen, they are cool. I love them.
Watch.
They're a great team, great football. But on the flip side, Sam Darnold and the Seahawks played awesome in that game too, and both quarterbacks were incredible. And our guys over at Locked On Seahawks talked about how Sam Darnold played MVP level football in that game.
Overall, I just think Sam Darnold is playing MVP caliber football. Baker Mayfield just happened to be even more MVP-like in this game than what Sam Darnold was. I think you'd make an argument that Darnold made a lot more impressive throws because Seattle's defense was giving Mayfield so many layups. Darnold was making a lot of contested throws and under pressure throws. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I know everyone's going to point to that last pick, but there were so many other reasons Seattle lost this game that if they wouldn't have made some of those mistakes, that doesn't even happen. They don't get in that position where Darnold has to try to will them back around a minute to play.
I just think that they're so well coached too. Like, Seattle knows what they're doing. They have a good game plan. JSN is one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL this year. When they're healthy, they can run the football. They have talent on defense to fly around. I just think the Bucs are that good. It actually doesn't make me feel any worse about the Seattle Seahawks.
No, I don't at all. I mean, like, defensively, you can't let what did it end up being, like 38? Can't let 38 feel good.
35.
But like, I remember saying last year, yeah, Sam Darnold's playing MVP caliber football. I know it sounds weird, but like at a certain point, we just have to realize that this is a different guy than the one you made fun of for seeing ghosts in New York. Like, this is just a different dude that has changed his game and is playing really well. They just have a quarterback playing absolutely lights out, mega hot football. Here's the only thing I'm going to worry about with the Seahawks. Last year, Clint Kubiak came out super hot with the Saints,
Yes.
and it fell away. In previous entities of Clint Kubiak, he would come out really hot, even game to game. He would cut the first 15 plays were awesome, and then it would fall away. Clint Kubiak's whole thing has been that once you crack it, once you adjust, he doesn't really have the counter adjustment. He's never had that before. That is going to be the next thing is in these next weeks. Now we got a little tape on the Seahawks, division rivals especially, or people with a little more experience against Clint Kubiak. Who is going to have the answer there, and will he be able to adjust on the fly? That's a skill he's never had, but he's very young as an offensive coordinator. So maybe he has it now. I'm genuinely asking. That's the next question that's going to prevent the Seahawks from going to the next level. And just being in a tough division will be hard for them too. But they're right in the thick of it for me.
Yeah, 100%. They are in the thick of it, and they're a team that I think can beat any team any day, and we will see how they progress throughout the end of the season. That'll be a big thing to watch, is how they handle the back end. But another team that is going to be interesting to watch how they continue on through the season is the Denver Broncos, who looked absolutely terrible, even in a win in week 1 and a close loss in week 2. They just didn't look like they were playing at the level that they were at last year. Bo Nix specifically was playing terrible football, and it looked like that second-year slump that everyone talked about being possible for him was coming to fruition, but they bounced back in a major way and knock off the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. Sean Payton spins the block in the team bus and drives down Broadway to let the fans know. I thought that was a very interesting story from Peter Schrager, but it looks like this is a win that could really, really start getting the confidence back up for the Broncos, according to Cody Roark from Locked On Broncos.
This is the biggest win for this Broncos team in the last 10 years, right? Since Super Bowl 50, I think the stakes of this, right? And yes, it's an NFC game. At the end of the year, there's no tiebreaker between the Broncos and the Eagles, but I think when we look at this game and how it's played, you can't undersell it enough, like how important a win like this was for a team like the Broncos.
I mean, I think Cody's onto it. It could really boost their confidence, really get them going, remind them of how they played last year. Luke, the question is, who do you trust more to get a playoff win this year? Seahawks or the Broncos? Okay, make the case.
The case is in the quarterback. Sam Darnold, like Corbin said, Sam Darnold's playing at an MVP level. Statistically, on the film, Sam Darnold is absolutely cooking. And if you didn't have 5 years of context thinking that you shouldn't expect that, we'd be talking about him as one of the best in the league right now. That's you can't argue that. Bo Nix is playing arguably average last week, but has generally been a bottom 10 quarterback. That's the difference to me. I think Sean Payton is coaching his rear end off, getting these Broncos into situations where they can win. I think they too got the advantage of a get right Bengals game that, hey, that'll cure what ails you. But Bo Nix has been remarkably inconsistent. He's had some absolutely incredible bozo plays and moments that for a guy whose whole deal is also kind of being the point guard, and just trying to deliver the ball where it's supposed to be, when it's supposed to be there. But he's not doing what Brock Purdy thinks he is, right? Like that is not what Bo Nix will be. There's every once in a while, there's an improv play, but at his best, Bo Nix is delivering the ball on time and operating with ruthless efficiency. That's what you need to be if you're Bo Nix. And when you're that kind of guy, you cannot have the circus play. That was bad and now it turned into it. You just can't have that. I just do not trust the Broncos at all. I don't think it's particularly close. I think the Seahawks can go on the road and Sam Darnold can upset somebody way easier than I can imagine the Broncos even making the playoffs. If you start adding up who the wild card teams are, you start to who's not making it? The Ravens?
I disagree.
Yes.
I think I have more confidence in the Broncos to win a playoff game because Sam Darnold's playing great right now, but at the end of the season and in big games when it matters, he turns into a Bo Nix level quarterback. And I trust Sean Payton more than I trust Mike
McDonald. You have a Bo Nix quarterback all year?
Yeah. So for me, I think that the quarterback matchup is more even when we get into bigger games and later in the season. And I think the coaching advantage goes to Sean Payton. And I think the defensive advantage goes to the Broncos. They have more guys who can make a play on that Broncos defense. So I think if I don't see Sam Darnold as a huge advantage because he has shown that in important games, he will make some mistakes as well, I'm going to lean with the coaching and the defensive advantage of the Denver Broncos, so I would trust them more to win a playoff game in an AFC that hasn't been as good this year as we're used to versus an NFC, which has a lot of better teams at the top, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's way too early to start doing playoff pictures, but it's going to be really fun to look at the AFC and say, okay, you get one of these AFC North teams, right? Whoever doesn't win the division between Pittsburgh and
the Broncos could beat the
Baltimore.
Steelers more than the Seahawks could beat the Lions or the Bucks, who they just lost to at home or something like that. That's kind of part of my philosophy here.
Yeah, well, so one of the Colts and Jags, both those teams look like playoff teams. Chargers and Chiefs, both those teams look like playoff teams.
Yep.
And suddenly you're going where do the Broncos actually fit in? It'll be interesting to see how things how things bear out as the season wears on. But I think teams are figuring out how to play Bo Nix. And I'm sorry, you got to beat the Mac Jones arc. You got to beat the allegations, the Mac Jones allegations. Otherwise, I'm not going to pay attention to you till year 5 and you're on your third team.
Yeah, they're still up in the air right now, but it's going to be very interesting to see how things shake out. We're going to be paying attention to everything here on Locked On NFL. But that's going to do it for today's edition of Locked On NFL. I am your host, the Madman Tyler Rowland, for my co-host, the Brain Luke Braun. As we tell you every episode, thanks for tuning in and stay safe out there.